My sister's grades were always strange. I'd score 500 and she'd score 510. I'd push to 600 and she'd immediately become 610. Her score was always precisely 10 points higher than mine. But once I took a leave of absence or missed an exam, my sister's grades would plummet instantly. My suspicion was thus confirmed. My sister's grades were tied to mine. With this as my baseline, a crazy idea flashed through my mind. What if I scored over 740 on the college entrance exam? Would my sister be publicly humiliated on the spot? On the eve of the college entrance exam, I was like a tireless ox, while my sister spent every day eating, drinking, and having fun. She relied on me, acting arrogantly and without restraint. She even abandoned her studies and went wild with her dubious friends. Every time she was caught, she'd look impatient. Are you guys annoying or what? Don't worry, the top scorer will definitely be me, and I didn't disappoint her trust. Every mock exam, I'd steadily secure her the top spot in her grade. I wanted her to live in a false cloud of drunken dreams, while I secretly crept closer to 741 points. The days of the second semester of senior year were like a blunt knife, cutting at my nerves slice by slice. I'd wake up before dawn every day and go to bed at midnight. In between, apart from eating and going to the bathroom, I was constantly doing practice problems. I locked myself in that small room that rarely saw sunlight, like a machine that never stopped. My sister's room was next door, and I'd occasionally hear her talking to friends or exaggerated laughter from watching TV shows. Sometimes she'd deliberately turn up the volume, as if showing off at how unrestrained she could be. I didn't care at all. I had long learned to block out all noise. There was only one sound in my head: 741 points. This number was like a nail driven into my heart. Whenever I wanted to give up, I'd press hard on the pain, keeping myself awake. In March, Lin Xiaoxiao started entering and exiting my room frequently. At first, I didn't pay attention, thinking she was just looking for something. Later, I realized something was off. The way she looked at me had changed, with a sense of scrutiny and probing. Once, I was working on a challenging math problem, and she stood behind me, staring at my scratch paper for a long time. Bro, why are you working so hard lately? I didn't look up or stop. Still working, huh? The college entrance exam is coming up. How can I not work hard? Lin Xiaoxiao leaned in closer, wanting to see what I was writing. But you've never been this dedicated before. My heart skipped a beat, but my face remained calm. I deliberately sighed, putting on a tired expression. Do you think I want to? Mom and Dad said, if I don't get into a 985 university, they'll cut off my allowance. Lin Xiaoxiao's expression relaxed, a hint of mockery even appearing at the corner of her mouth. You, a 985? She turned and left, not forgetting to add a jab as she went. Don't work too hard. Anyway, the top spot will be mine in the end. I watched her back without speaking. Only after the door closed did I pick up my pen again, the corner of my mouth slightly upturned. Good. Keep this contempt going. The more you underestimate me, the safer I am. But Lin Xiaoxiao's vigilance hadn't completely disappeared. In the following days, she'd ask me which subject was the hardest and what my mock exam scores were. Sometimes she'd deliberately say discouraging things in front of me, trying to shake my confidence. I countered her moves, deliberately controlling my scores in every mock exam, not letting myself stand out too much. I stayed within the top 5 in my grade, neither too conspicuous nor raising her suspicions. My real trump card was hidden in my heart. Those most difficult problem types, those most tricky techniques, I only practiced them alone late at night. After finishing, I'd tear up the scratch paper and flush it down the toilet, leaving no trace. One night, I was working on competition problems when I suddenly heard movement in the living room. It was my mother and Lin Xiaoxiao talking. I quietly opened the door a crack. Xiaoxiao, isn't your brother working too hard lately? I see him locking himself in his room every day, not even coming out to eat. Lin Xiaoxiao smiled dismissively. Mom, what are you worried about? How much harder can he work? Anyway, whatever he scores, I'll be 10 points higher. The harder he works, the higher my score, right? Yes. My daughter is so smart. Let him work hard then. He can just work for you. I listened to these words, clenching my fists, my nails digging into my flesh, but outwardly, I remained calm. One evening in April, I was studying in my room as usual when I suddenly heard a faint sound outside the door. I pricked up my ears and listened carefully. It was footsteps, very light, as if afraid of being discovered. Then the doorknob turned very slowly. I instantly understood. Lin Xiaoxiao was peeking at me. I didn't turn around, continuing to pretend to be focused on my studies. But in reality, I had already swapped the exam paper in my hand for a basic one. The truly difficult materials were locked away in the deepest part of my drawer. The door opened a tiny crack. I caught a glimpse of half of Lin Xiaoxiao's face out of the corner of my eye. She was looking at the things on my desk. I deliberately sighed, muttering to myself, how did I get this problem wrong again? So hard. The door quietly closed. The footsteps gradually faded away. I straightened up, letting out a cold laugh. Lin Xiaoxiao, the more you guard against me, the more it shows your guilt. You know better than anyone. Those scores aren't yours. You're just a parasite, Without me, you're nothing. In the May mock exam, I scored 690. Lin Xiaoxiao scored 700, taking first place in her grade. The day the results came out, she celebrated lavishly at home. My parents fussed over her, praising her for bringing honor to the family. The dining table was filled with all her favorite dishes. I sat in the corner, quietly eating my rice, like an invisible person. My father put down his chopsticks, looking at Lin Xiaoxiao with a satisfied expression. Xiaoxiao performed well this time. Keep it up, and the college entrance exam is secure. My daughter is just so smart. Don't even look at whose genes she got. Lin Xiaoxiao glanced at me triumphantly, a mocking smile playing on her lips. Bro, you need to work harder. Don't fall too far behind me. Otherwise, mom and dad will lose face. I hummed in response, without refuting, continuing to eat. But in my heart, I was sneering. Enjoy it to the fullest. This is just your last moment of glory. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. My mind repeatedly replayed everything that could happen during the 2 days of the college entrance exam. The college entrance exam arrived as scheduled in June. On the evening of June 6th, Lin Xiaoxiao went out drinking with friends, saying it was an early celebration. My mother not only didn't stop her, but even gave her a wad of cash, saying her daughter had worked hard and deserved to relax. I watched this scene from the crack in my bedroom door, feeling no ripple in my heart, only irony. That day, I went to bed at 8 o'clock, setting my alarm for 6 the next morning. Lying in bed, I was unusually calm, like a swordsman waiting to draw his sword. All the forbearance would be rewarded tomorrow. The next morning, I woke up on time, had a quick breakfast. My mother took Lin Xiaoxiao to the exam hall, and to me, she just perfunctorily said, "Do well." I nodded without saying much, thinking to myself, anyway, this is the last time. From now on, we'll go our separate ways. The exam hall was in the old teaching building of the school. I was assigned a window seat on the 3rd floor. The sunlight shone in perfectly. I sat down, arranged my stationery one by one, took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and silently recited, "I've waited for this day for 18 years." The moment I opened the exam paper, my mind was clearer than ever before. Every question felt as familiar as an old friend. I had anticipated every trap in the reading comprehension. The essay topic was exactly the type I had practiced countless times. I wrote with divine inspiration. After the Chinese exam, I walked out of the exam hall. Lin Xiaoxiao immediately rushed over to block me. She was wearing exquisite makeup, but there was a subtle hint of panic in her eyes. She asked me how I did. I said, "It was all right." Lin Xiaoxiao frowned, pressing further. "All right? How all right? How many multiple choice questions did you get wrong?" I looked at her and suddenly found it a bit amusing. She was trying to confirm my score to estimate her own. "I don't know. I haven't checked the answers." Lin Xiaoxiao pouted, not quite satisfied with the answer. But she didn't press further. She turned and left. I watched her back, thinking, why are you in such a hurry? Anyway, the results will be out tomorrow. You'll have your moment then. In the afternoon, halfway through the math exam, something unexpected happened. My stomach suddenly started aching intensely. It might have been something I ate in the morning, or perhaps too much stress. Cold sweat instantly broke out, and I slumped over my desk for several seconds before recovering. The invigilator walked over, asking in a low voice, "Student, are you all right? Do you want to go to the infirmary?" I shook my head, gritting my teeth and saying, "I'm fine. Are you kidding? I've waited 18 years, just for this exam. Even if I die, I'll die on this paper." I pinched my thigh hard, the sharp pain temporarily making me forget the discomfort in my abdomen. I continued to work on the problems. The numbers and formulas blurred before my eyes for a moment, but I relied on muscle memory to complete every question. For the last challenging problem, I used 3 methods to verify it, only putting down my pen after confirming it was correct. When I walked out of the exam hall, I was almost completely exhausted. I found a deserted corner and squatted down, taking a long time to recover. Lin Xiaoxiao messaged me, asking how I did in math. I replied with 2 words, normal. She instantly replied with a smug emoji, clearly thinking she was safe again. I looked at that emoji and just found it ridiculous. Ignorance is bliss. That's exactly what it describes. The next day, I took the comprehensive science and English exams. My condition had largely recovered. These 2 subjects were my strengths, especially the physics problems, chemical deductions, and biological genetics in the comprehensive science exam. All types I had practiced countless times. I worked through them smoothly. With 20 minutes remaining, I double-checked every question, ensuring there would be no mistakes. English, needless to say, it would be difficult for the graders not to give me a high score. After the last subject, I walked out of the exam hall. I stood at the entrance of the teaching building, looked up at the sky. The sunlight was dazzling, but I didn't hide. I just stood there directly, letting it shine on my face. 18 years. I finally made it through. Lin Xiaoxiao was the first to rush over and block me. She was dressed exceptionally brightly today, like a proud peacock. Greedy light gleamed in her eyes. She asked me how I did. Good. Unprecedentedly good. Never been this good in my life. Lin Xiaoxiao's eyes lit up instantly. She turned turned and ran to brag to Mom and Dad. "Mom, my brother said he did exceptionally well. Then I must have done even better." Watching her joyful retreating figure, I also smiled. It was the smile of a hunter watching his prey fall into the trap. "Lin Xiaoxiao, do you know what you're like now? Like a moth flying into a flame, still thinking it's the sun." During the summer vacation after the college entrance exam, Lin Xiaoxiao completely let loose. She patted her chest and promised Mom and Dad she could score in the top 10 in the province. She preemptively received a huge allowance. Not only did she replace her phone and computer with top-of-the-line models, she also took the money Mom and Dad had painstakingly saved and squandered it with a bunch of dubious friends. Her WeChat moments updated daily, all about eating, drinking, and having fun, completely oblivious to the word death. One evening, I scrolled through her WeChat moments. It was a photo of her dining at a high-end restaurant with the caption, "Future top scorer celebrating in advance." Below, a bunch of people liked and commented. I looked at those comments and just found them absurd. Meanwhile, I wanted to go back to my hometown to see my grandpa and asked Mom and Dad for travel expenses. Before I could finish speaking, my mother cut me off. My mother didn't even lift an eyelid, her tone perfunctory. "See what? See that the family has no money? Didn't you see Xiao Xiao needs money?" I looked at her self-righteous face, feeling a wave of nausea. She was stingy with me, but lavished money on Lin Xiao Xiao. These were my parents. My father sat on the sofa watching TV, adding without turning his head, "If you want to go, figure it out yourself. Don't expect anything from home." I didn't say anything more, turned and went back to my room. The next morning, I went out to a construction site and found a job moving bricks. The sun was scorching, making people dizzy, but I gritted my teeth and worked for half a month to save enough for travel expenses and gifts for Grandpa. That half month was one of the hardest periods of my life. After half a month, I had saved over 1,000 win, enough for round-trip fare and some supplements for Grandpa. The day the scores were released happened to be Lin Xiaoxiao's 18th birthday celebration. To be crowned with the most glorious moment of her life in front of everyone, she held an extremely lavish banquet. All the distant relatives, aunts, uncles, Mom's colleagues, and leaders were invited. In the banquet hall, laughter and chatter rose and fell. A distant relative, holding a wine glass, approached my father, his face beaming. "Old Lin, your family's ancestral grave must be smoking green. Both your dragon and phoenix are so accomplished." Another relative chimed in with a hint of harshness in her tone. "The son just studies hard, doesn't understand things. Xiao Xiao is more thoughtful, good grades, and clever. 100 times better than her brother." The younger generation gathered around Lin Xiao Xiao like stars around the moon. A cousin was even envious, her eyes red. "Xiao Xiao sis, you're amazing," holding a Tsinghua Peking University admission letter in one hand and a handsome boyfriend in the other. "You're truly a winner in life. What time are the scores released? We want to witness the historic moment of a top scorer being born. Don't rush. If it's one of the top few in the province, Tsinghua Peking University admissions offices will call ahead to snatch them up." No sooner had she spoken than the phone rang. But it wasn't for her. It was for me. Under the astonished gaze of everyone present, I answered call after call. Tsinghua admissions team, Peking University admissions office, and admissions officers from several other top universities. I politely thanked them, saying I would consider it carefully. Lin Xiaoxiao's eyes were almost popping out, staring intently at her silent phone. She forced a brave face, gritting her teeth and squeezing out a sentence. "The best always come last." Finally, the score inquiry channel opened. Everyone rushed to urge Lin Xiaoxiao to log in. I also quietly opened the inquiry page in the corner. Although I was confident, at the moment of checking the scores, my palms still sweated slightly. My mother first turned to me and asked in a casual tone what my score was. I showed my phone screen to everyone, saying calmly, "I scored 741. The whole room was in an uproar. I suppressed the surging joy in my heart, my face expressionless. I succeeded. I really succeeded. My mother paused for a moment, giving a stingy nod and not even taking a second look. She turned and pounced on Lin Xiaoxiao. Her voice trembled with excitement. "Quick, Xiao Xiao! You must have scored even higher." Lin Xiaoxiao was surrounded, unable to escape. She trembled as she tapped the confirm button. The next second, her face froze. Her expression was as dramatic as if she had swallowed a fly. 3 bright red numbers clearly displayed on the screen. 751. Lin Xiaoxiao's voice was trembling. A deathly silence. A distant relative, unaware of the truth, was still blindly praising. "Oh my, 751 points. 10 points higher than her brother. Xiao Xiao is truly a prodigy. If I'm not mistaken, the maximum score for the college entrance exam is only 750, right?" The atmosphere instantly froze. Lin Xiaoxiao panicked, cold sweat running down her face, washing away her exquisite makeup. "It must be a system error. Too many people checking scores. It's gone crazy." She frantically refreshed the page, her finger almost poking through the screen. Once, twice, thrice, that damned 751 points was stubbornly stuck in the total score column like a nail. Someone suggested trying another phone. Lin Xiaoxiao snatched someone else's phone like a drowning person grasping at a straw. The result was still 751. That extra point was like a huge slap across her face. Just then, the banquet hall doors were pushed open. Several officers in uniform and Education Bureau personnel walked in with serious expressions. The leading official looked around, asking in a deep voice, "Is Lin Xiaoxiao here? The Education Examination Authority has detected an extremely abnormal score, suspected of malicious system attack or major cheating. Please come with us to assist with the investigation." Lin Xiaoxiao's legs gave out in fright. She collapsed directly onto the floor. Her face was as pale as a ghost. Mom and Dad saw this and also panicked, but their first reaction wasn't to comfort their daughter, but instinctively to find a scapegoat. In their panic, my mother actually pushed me out, pointing at me and shouting at the top of her lungs, "She did it! It must be her, jealous of her sister, who hacked into the system and tampered with the scores. Officers, you should investigate her. This has nothing to do with my daughter." Here we go again. These are my parents. At critical moments, they wouldn't hesitate to use me as a shield, even if the reason was absurd, even if the logic was nonsensical. As long as it could protect their precious daughter, what was sacrificing me? My heart was completely dead. At this moment, I felt incredibly relaxed. I shook off my mother's hand, looking coldly at this group of clowns. "I'm not a hacker. I am Lin Feng, the top science scorer in the province. Lin Xiaoxiao is over there. The one who scored the human miracle of 751 points is her." My father rushed up in a rage, wanting to slap me. I grabbed his wrist, my eyes fierce, making him tremble. "Try to touch me. The officials are right behind me. Now Tsinghua and Peking University are fighting over me. The media is fighting to report on me. Try to touch me." From this moment on, no one in this family could restrain me, and no one could bully me again. This coming-of-age ceremony, originally meant for showing off, had completely turned into a farce. Lin Xiaoxiao was taken away to assist with the investigation, leaving behind a mess. This matter couldn't be covered up at all. The college entrance exam 751 points directly blew up the trending topics. It exploded on hot search that very night. The entire internet was watching the drama and laughing. Some said, "Greed knows no bounds, like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Did she buy scores and get carried away?" Some said, "If you're going to cheat, at least use your brain. The maximum score is 750. You score 751? Are you insulting the graders or the system?" Someone dug up Lin Xiaoxiao's social media accounts, finding that she had been eating, drinking, and having fun everywhere for the past 6 months, hardly studying at all. Public opinion overwhelmingly criticized Lin Xiaoxiao. Everyone believed she had used connections to change her scores and accidentally changed them too high. I scrolled through those comments, feeling an indescribable sense of exhilaration. 18 years. I had waited for this moment for 18 years. Finally, I let everyone see the truth. The investigation results came out quickly. Lin Xiaoxiao's answer sheet was abnormal. The multiple choice section inexplicably scanned one extra point than others, leading to an overflow in the total score. Although there was no direct evidence that she had modified the answer sheet, for the sake of fairness, the Education Bureau decided to use a backup paper and have her retake the exam alone. When the news reached home, Lin Xiaoxiao was lying on the sofa scrolling on her phone. Hearing about the retake, she jumped up, her face instantly turning pale. "What do you mean retake? Why should I retake? My score is real. The system had a problem." My father sat nearby, his face ashen, scolding in a low voice. "Quiet down. The neighbors can hear you." My mother paced anxiously, comforting Lin Xiaoxiao and discussing countermeasures. "Xiaoxiao, don't panic. Retake if you have to retake. You're so smart. It'll definitely be fine." But Lin Xiaoxiao seemed to have gone mad, throwing tantrums at home, crying and shouting, insisting that I retake the exam with her. "Okay, let him come with me. I want him to sit next to me." She rushed over and grabbed my arm, her nails digging into my flesh, her eyes frighteningly red. "Ling Tian, you must take the exam with me. Do you hear me?" I shook off her hand, my tone icy. "I've already taken the exam. Why should I retake it with you?" Lin Xiaoxiao froze. Her eyes were filled with disbelief, as if she had never imagined I would refuse her. My mother immediately rushed over to mediate. "What's with your attitude? Your sister is like this. Can't you help her?" "Xiao Tian, this concerns our whole family's reputation. Just take the exam with Xiaoxiao once. What's the big deal?" I looked at them, feeling both ridiculous and pathetic. What whole family's reputation? That's Lin Xiaoxiao's reputation. This has never had anything to do with me. I refused on the spot, turned and went back to my room, locking the door. No matter how they knocked or cursed outside, my unreasonable request was naturally rejected by the Education Bureau. Finally, Lin Xiaoxiao retook the exam alone, under full supervision. The exam was held in a meeting room at the Municipal Education Bureau. Surveillance cameras operated 24 hours a day, and 3 invigilators watched her throughout, afraid she would pull another stunt. As expected, she scored terribly. Her retake total was 157, even lower than her usual guessing scores. She only had a foundation of 300 points to begin with, and for the past 6 months, she'd been busy dating and dreaming of being number 1, without even opening a book. When the results came out, I was moving bricks at the construction site. I received a message from a classmate saying Lin Xiaoxiao scored 157 on her retake. I paused, then burst out laughing. My co-workers thought I had heat stroke and offered me water. I waved my hand and said, "I'm fine, just too happy." This retake completely exposed her. First 751, then 157. 157. The huge contrast caused public opinion to explode. Netizens' comments were more brilliant than the last. Some said, 157. This must be her true level. Some said, this confirms that the previous 751 was definitely cheating. Lin Xiaoxiao couldn't stand the online bullying and tried to show her high school grades to prove herself. But the omnipotent netizens dug up everything. Her bizarre rapid progress in the past 6 months of senior year. Before that, she was always a mess, scoring 300 points, completely hopeless. Everyone became even more convinced that this girl had been cheating since senior year. Incidentally, netizens also dug up my report card. From elementary school to high school, every major exam score was unearthed, always in the top 3 since childhood. This is a true academic genius. Steady as an old dog, someone commented. Are they really siblings? How can there be such a big difference? Someone else said, one is the top scorer in the college entrance exam. The other can barely pass. I looked at those comments, my heart filled with mixed emotions. I once thought that good grades would earn me my parents' approval. Later I realized, no matter how high I scored, in their eyes, I would never be as good as Lin Xiaoxiao. Because what they needed wasn't an excellent son, but a tool to cover for their daughter. The teachers and classmates who once praised Lin Xiaoxiao now avoided her like the plague. Even my parents were pointed at and whispered about when they went out. Neighbors gossiped, saying that the Lin family's daughter was actually a good-for-nothing, had cheated everyone for so many years. How embarrassing. Completely disgraced the family. During that time, Lin Xiaoxiao hid in her room, afraid to see anyone, like a rat scurrying across the street. The curtains were tightly drawn. She even had her mother bring her food to the door, refusing to meet anyone. Meanwhile, I, with my Tsinghua/Peking University Medical School admission letter, packed my bags and went back to my hometown to stay with Grandpa. As long as I waited until the end of August for school to start, I would be completely free. That's what I thought. The summer in the countryside was like a steaming basket, but I felt at peace there. Grandpa's old house was at the foot of the mountain, 3 adobe rooms. There was an old locust tree in front of the door. Cicadas chirped noisily, yet it wasn't annoying. This was my real home. Since I could remember, I had been left here. My parents, under the guise of good country air suitable for health, in reality, just found me an eyesore. They wanted Lin Xiaoxiao to enjoy all the love and resources exclusively. One more me meant one more competitor. Grandpa never spoke ill of my parents. He just silently cared for me, taught me to read and write, told me to rely on myself. The most frequent thing he said was, studying is the only way out for poor children. I carved this sentence into my bones. I stayed at the old house for over 20 days. Every morning I'd get up early to help Grandpa feed the chickens. In the morning, I'd read in the courtyard. In the afternoon, I'd accompany him to the fields. In the evening, we'd sit under the locust tree to enjoy the cool air. He'd tell me stories from the past, how mischievous my dad was as a child, how diligent my mom was when she first got married. I listened to these unfamiliar past events, like listening to someone else's story, because in my memory, my parents were never like that. One evening, we sat in the courtyard enjoying the cool air. The moonlight was bright. Grandpa suddenly asked me how I did on the college entrance exam. I thought for a moment and honestly replied, it should be good. Grandpa nodded. There was a light in his cloudy eyes. He looked at the moon in the sky, was silent for a while, saying, good is good, good is good. He sighed, his voice a bit hoarse. Grandpa hasn't achieved much in this life. I'm counting on you. I lowered my head, my nose feeling a bit sore. From childhood to adulthood, only he had said such words to me. Only he genuinely hoped for my well-being. Grandpa, when I get into university and start working, I'll bring you to live in the city. He waved his hand, laughing like a child. I'm not used to the city. It's enough that you have the thought. That night, I lay on the adobe bed in the old house, listening to the chirping insects outside the window. I thought that once the results came out, everything would be settled. I would let everyone see that I, Lin Tian, was not a useless person to be bullied, nor anyone's stepping stone. August 12th. There were still over 2 weeks until school started. I was in the courtyard helping Grandpa dry corn, pouring baskets of golden corn cobs onto a bamboo mat and spreading them out. The phone in my pocket suddenly rang. It was my mother's number. I paused. She almost never contacted me proactively. The last time she called was before the college entrance exam, asking me what score I could get, her tone filled with scrutiny and calculation. I answered the phone. Crying came from the other end. My mother's voice was hoarse and urgent. Zhao Tian, come back quickly. Your dad suddenly fell ill. He's dying. My heart sank abruptly, the winnowing basket in my hand almost falling to the ground. I asked what illness it was, which hospital he was in. My mother just cried, not answering my questions, repeating, come back quickly, come back quickly. Then the call ended. I stood rooted to the spot, my mind a mess. Grandpa came out of the house, saw my expression, and asked what was wrong. I told him the situation. His face also changed, urging me to pack up and go back quickly. No matter what, that's your father. You have to go back and see him. I nodded, went back to my room, and haphazardly stuffed a few clothes into my backpack. Before leaving, Grandpa chased after me, stuffing a cloth bag into my hand. He said heavily, "Take this. This is Grandpa's emergency savings." I opened it and saw it was a wad of crumpled small bills, totaling about 2,000 won. That was his retirement money, saved little by little from selling eggs and vegetables. I wanted to push it back, but he had already turned and gone back into the house. His hunched back looked particularly small in the doorway. I clutched the cloth bag, my eyes welling up. It took 2 hours by shuttle bus from the village to the county town, 3 hours by train from the county town to the city, and then a high-speed rail transfer in the city. The whole journey would take nearly 10 hours. I bought a ticket for the earliest bus. Sitting on the bumpy bus, the scenery outside the window rapidly receded, but my mind began to calm down. Something was wrong. Too many things were wrong. My mother's crying was too exaggerated like acting, and she didn't say what illness my father had, didn't say which hospital he was in, didn't even say how serious his condition was. She just kept urging me to come back. If he was really critically ill, she should have said, "Your dad is in XX hospital. Come quickly." Instead of, "Come back quickly. Come back to where?" Home. If he was being rescued in the hospital, how could she have time to stay at home and call me? Also, her tone carried an indescribable urgency, an urgency that didn't sound like worry for her husband, but more like fear that I wouldn't come back. The more I thought about it, the more suspicious it seemed. I called my father's phone. It was busy. I called again, still busy. I changed my approach and called a colleague of my father's unit. It was an uncle I had met a few times before. I politely asked if something had happened to my dad. The other party's tone was surprised. "Your dad even treated everyone to dinner last week. He's perfectly fine." "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Maybe I misheard." I found a random excuse and hung up. Sure enough, they were lying to me. I leaned back in my seat, staring at the continuous mountains outside the car window. The stone in my heart, instead, fell into place. It wasn't that I was cold-blooded, but that I knew this family too well. If my father was really critically ill, Lin Xiaoxiao would have already been crying and complaining online, seeking sympathy. It would be impossible for there to be no movement at all. Since it was a deception, then what was their purpose in tricking me back? I spent a few hours figuring out this question. The answer was obvious. Lin Xiaoxiao's matter had caused too much of a stir. That 751-point joke was still trending. She wouldn't get into a good university even if she retook the exam, because without me, she was nothing. And I was about to start a new life at Tsinghua/Peking University, completely escaping this quagmire. They wouldn't allow this to happen. In their eyes, my only value was to be Lin Xiaoxiao's stepping stone, a tool, a blood bag. After understanding this, I wasn't flustered anymore. I even felt the composure of a hunter who has set a trap and is waiting for the prey to fall in. However, this time, the hunter and the prey would switch places. Since you want to put on a show, I'll play along to the end, but the final script will be written by me. On the train, I used the money Grandpa gave me to buy a cheap spare phone and a power bank. I fully charged both phones and downloaded a video recording app that automatically uploaded to the cloud. I tested it 3 times, ensuring everything was foolproof. I also sent messages to a few future roommates I knew in the university freshman group, briefly explaining the situation, asking them to call the police for me if they couldn't reach me for more than 48 hours, and shared my real-time location with them. Better safe than sorry. Damn, bro. Your family's so complicated. It's okay. We're here. Go ahead. If something really happens, we'll call the police immediately. Stay safe. Keep in touch at all times. I looked at those messages, a warmth rising in my heart. People I had never met were willing to help me, while my so-called closest relatives wanted to push me into a pit of fire. This world is truly ironic. By the time I got home, it was already the evening of the next day. The setting sun dyed the old building a dull yellow. Dragging my suitcase, I stood downstairs, looking up at the place where I had lived for 12 years, but never felt a sense of belonging. I took a deep breath, went upstairs, and knocked on the door. The door opened. My mother's face appeared at the doorway, her eyes red as if she had just cried. She was startled when she saw me, then immediately put on a fawning smile. "Oh, Xiao Tian, you're finally back. Come in, come in." Her unusually enthusiastic welcome gave me goosebumps. From childhood to adulthood, when had she ever been so attentive to me? I entered the house calmly, my gaze quickly sweeping across the living room. My father was sitting on the sofa watching TV, still holding the remote control. His complexion was perfectly healthy, not at all like someone critically ill. I stood in the entryway, still holding the handle of my suitcase, asking in a calm voice, "Didn't you say Dad was sick? Why is he watching TV at home?" The air in the living room froze for a moment. My father looked up and glanced at me, his expression a bit unnatural. My mother's smile stiffened for a moment. Then she quickly covered it up. "It was a false alarm. Your dad was uncomfortable yesterday, but after a hospital checkup, it was nothing serious. We thought you were going to Tsinghua/Peking University soon, so we wanted you to come back for a family gathering." Family. These 3 words, coming from her mouth, were particularly ironic. I didn't expose them, just nodded, acknowledging it. After entering the room, I caught a glimpse of Lin Xiaoxiao at the other end of the sofa out of the corner of my eye. She was huddled in the corner, her hair messy, her face sallow, with dark circles under her eyes. She was a completely different person from the proud, favored girl of a few months ago. Seeing me enter, she looked up, her eyes complex. There was resentment, fear, and something else I couldn't understand. I pretended not to see her, going straight back to my room to put away my luggage. My room was the innermost one, about 10 square meters, and rarely saw sunlight. When I was little, it was a storage room. Later, when I came back from Grandpa's house for school, they reluctantly tidied it up for me to live in. Lin Xiaoxiao's room faced south, big and bright. The allocation of resources in this family had always been so clear-cut. I closed the door and started checking the room. Desk, bookshelf, wardrobe, under the bed. I checked everywhere, confirming that nothing had been tampered with. I took out the spare phone from my backpack and found a hidden spot, propping it up among the clutter on the bookshelf. The camera was aimed directly at the door. I started recording mode, set it to silent, ensuring there would be no notification sounds during recording. After doing all this, I lay on the bed pretending to sleep, but my ears were perked up, catching every movement in the living room. For dinner, my mother cooked a table full of dishes, unusually calling me out to eat. She even put food on my plate. Xiaotian, you've gotten thin. You're leaving home soon. Eat more. I ate without tasting anything. My mind completely focused on analyzing what they were trying to do when they would show their fangs. After dinner, my father coughed, cleared his throat, as if about to give a lecture. Little Tian, why did I ask you to come back this time? Actually, there's something I wanted to discuss with you. I looked up. His face held just the right amount of confusion. That's right. Your sister hasn't been doing well lately. You know that the college entrance exam was a huge blow to her. She is now severely depressed. He doesn't even want to leave his room. Your mother and I discussed it. You are his older brother. He was also his closest person. Can you spend more time with her? Try to talk her out. I'll wait until they reveal their true intentions. Yeah, Xiaotian, you two are twins. A boy and a girl. They are family members whose blood is thicker than water. Even if the bone is broken, the tendons will still connect. What's wrong with you helping your sister? I still didn't respond. They just watched as the atmosphere became tense for a moment. Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly raised her head. She looked at me with red eyes. The voice was choked with sobs. Elder brother, I know I was wrong, okay? I've figured it out during this time. It was all my fault before. I shouldn't have done that. Can you give me another chance? I almost burst out laughing. His acting has improved. Unfortunately, I don't fall for that. I asked them what they really wanted me to do. Tear off that layer of window paper. I don't have the patience to play games with them. The father and mother exchanged a glance. It seems to be confirming something. The father finally laid his cards on the table. That's right. We came up with a solution. Even small children can have students. I raised an eyebrow, signaling him to continue speaking to us in a low voice. His college entrance exam score. That very regularity. You should know better than us. There is a very special connection between the two of you. As long as you are here, he can get high scores. My heart skipped a beat. He actually told them this secret. My father stood up and walked up to me. His tone carried an unquestionable air. So your mom and I discussed it. Do you think it's possible to postpone your studies by 1 year and repeat a year at Tsinghua or Peking University? I'll be taking the college entrance exam with Xiaoxiao next year. She'll be able to get into a good university then. 2 people from our family got into Tsinghua and Peking universities. Wouldn't that bring glory to one's ancestors? I was stunned. Not because I was shocked by the absurdity of the demand. What shocked them was the self-righteousness with which they made this demand. It's as if this is something that should be taken for granted. It was as if sacrificing my future to make Lin Xiaoxiao's happiness a matter of course. Mother seized the opportunity and came over, holding my hand, a calculating glint in his eyes. Xiaotian, this isn't bad for you either. You're so smart, I'm sure I can pass the exam next year. At that time, he will have the reputation of being the top scholar. Plus, the effort of repeating a year at Tsinghua and Peking universities would definitely be vying for you. Moreover, even a small child can have a bright future. Isn't this a win-win situation? I have received my acceptance letter. Why did I repeat a year of high school? The father waved his hand dismissively. What is a notification letter? That thing doesn't report for duty. Automatic will be invalid. You're the older brother. Give in to your younger sister. What's wrong? He'll be quite successful in the future. I will never forget you. You also get a share of the money he earns. I heard the funniest joke in the world. I said I disagreed. The father's face darkened. The mother's expression also froze. Lin Xiaoxiao suddenly looked up. The pleading in his eyes instantly turned into eagle-like cunning. Father stood up, looking down at me. The tone was threatening. Ling Tian, what kind of attitude is this? We'll discuss this with you properly. Why did you refuse so readily? You want me to give up Tsinghua and Peking University? Accompanying someone who can only score 157 on the college entrance exam to repeat a year. Then I used my score to get him into a prestigious university. Why should I believe she's your sister? You are the older brother. Helping my sister is a matter of course. I helped him for 18 years. From childhood to adulthood. Give him all the resources. Leave me in the countryside. Ignore he's ruined himself now. Then you remembered me. Let me sacrifice my future. Wipe his butt. Father slammed his hand on the table. Lin Tian, what kind of attitude is this? This is the attitude I'm not doing. I turned and walked towards the room. Lin Xiaoxiao's hysterical scream came from behind. Ling Tian, what gives you the right? Those portions should have been mine in the first place. Without me, who do you think you are? Lin Xiaoxiao listened carefully. Those marks were written down stroke by stroke by me. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. You can steal my points. It's your good fortune. It's not your ability. It's not a bargaining chip for you to blackmail me with such self-righteousness. Lin Xiaoxiao was speechless after I choked her. Tears welled up in my eyes and spilled out. Mother rushed over block in front of him, pointing at me and cursing Ling Tian. You made your sister so angry. You are still useful, heartless. I'm too lazy to argue with them anymore. Entering the room, lock the door behind you. A series of smashing and breaking sounds came from outside the door, and the father's angry shouts, the mother's sobs. I leaned against the door and closed my eyes, listening to this noise. But I felt surprisingly calm. Tonight is just the first round. The real showdown is yet to come. I had a feeling they wouldn't give up so easily. Let's wait. I have plenty of patience. I didn't sleep that night. Eyes fixed on the ceiling. Keep your ears alert. Around 2, I heard rustling sounds outside the door. It sounded like someone was talking in hushed tones. I held my breath. Listen carefully. It's the father and mother. The mother's voice was very low, but I still heard Lao Lin. Why don't we take advantage of him while he's asleep? Take his things. I lost my ID card and notification letter. I'll see how he goes. You see all the room lights are off. They must be asleep. Let's do it tonight, to avoid any unforeseen complications. Footsteps approached the door. My heart is racing, but the body remained completely still. Pretending to be asleep, the door handle turned slightly. I'm so glad I locked the door. The sound of her mother's muffled curses came from outside the door. This kid should just lock the door. Let's talk about it tomorrow. Anyway, he can't escape. The footsteps gradually faded away. I opened my eyes, staring at the ceiling in the dark. A cold laugh in his heart. Just as I expected. They had no intention of letting me go. From the moment I stepped into this home, I fell into their trap. But what they didn't know was I was prepared long ago. It's still uncertain who will win or lose in this game. The next morning, I tentatively tried to turn the doorknob. The door was locked from the outside. My heart skipped a beat. Walk to the window and look outside. The windows have security bars on the outside, welded tightly. Cell phone signal is still working, but the network signal was cut off. I used my mobile data to send a message to my roommate to let her know I was safe. Tell them everything is all right for now. But the situation is not good. Keep them on standby. Around 10 a.m., the door opened. Mother brought in a bowl of porridge. His facial expression was a forced smile. Are you hungry? Eat something. Have you figured it out yet? I didn't take the bowl. He put the porridge on the table and sighed. The tone carried a hint of threat. Little Tian Mom gives you some advice. A wise person knows when to yield. Even if you get into Tsinghua or Peking University. So what? Who will pay for your tuition and living expenses? Do you think we'll give you a single penny? You won't even be able to afford to go to school then. You still have to obediently come back. It's not even certain if you still have your acceptance letter. Looking at the hurried. If you behave. Repeating a year. We will fully support you next year. If you don't listen. He didn't finish his sentence, but the meaning is already quite clear. I remained silent. After he left, I then realized the door was locked again. From this moment on, I have been officially placed under house arrest. I was able to stay calm on the first day. I started to get anxious the next day. Not because of fear. It's because time is flowing by little by little. The start date of school is getting closer. I must find a way to get out. On the third day, I decided to take the risk and try it. 2 a.m. Everyone is asleep. I quietly got up, used the file-like part of a nail clipper to pry open the door lock. These old-fashioned spring locks are not difficult to open. It took me about 10 minutes. Finally, I heard a soft click. The door opened. I held my breath, moving outward step by step. The living room was pitch black. I felt my way along the wall towards the gate. My heart was pounding so hard, it felt like it was going to jump out of my throat. The floorboards beneath my feet occasionally creaked slightly. Each time it rings, I stopped, listened to the noise. Only after confirming that no one was there did they continue forward. Just as my hand was about to touch the doorknob, the lights are on. I froze completely. Father stood at the entrance of the corridor, holding a wooden stick. His face turned ashen. He had clearly been waiting for me to run away. I did not explain. He turned around and ran back, but it was too late. He rushed over in 3 strides. The mother and Lin Xiaoxiao also came out at some point. Standing aside, no one said a word to stop them. Father tired of playing. Stop panting heavily. I tell you, Lin Tian, you'll never escape this house in your entire life, unless you agree to repeat a year. I lay on the ground. My whole body is shaking. Not because of fear. It was not because of anger. 18 years of forbearance. At this moment, it almost burst out of my chest, but I held back. It's not the right time yet. My evidence is not enough. My backup plan isn't ready yet. I was dragged back to the room. Thrown on the bed, the door was locked again. They also added a new lock. This time it was hung from the outside. Cannot be pried open by hand. I was lying in bed. My back is burning with pain. That pain actually made me more awake. For the next 2 days, I behaved myself. No more attempts to escape eat when you should. It's time to sleep. On the surface, it seems like she has resigned herself to her fate. My parents thought I had been beaten into submission. They loosened their guard on me a little, but the door was still locked. I still can't get out. I spent the last 2 days carefully observing their daily routines. Remember when everyone goes to sleep? When did it start? I remember all these details, waiting for the best opportunity. On the 4th night, they finally made their move. 2:07 a.m. I heard the door lock click softly, not the kind of tentative sound. Instead, someone is unlocking the door. I closed my eyes, steady breathing, pretending to be asleep, but every nerve was taut. The door was pushed open. The footsteps were very light, as if afraid of waking up. I am 2 people I judge from the rhythm of breathing. One is the mother, one is the father. They crept up to my desk, started rummaging through things. I remained in a sleeping position. My heart was racing involuntarily. I know what they're looking for. ID card and admission notice. These 2 things are the keys to my escape from this hell. They were also the bargaining chips that trapped me. The rummaging continued for several minutes. I heard my mother's hushed voice. Cannot be found in Toastmasters. You said he hid it somewhere? Look again. It must be in this room. He can't take it out. They searched through all the desk drawers. I searched through the bookshelves and my backpack. They even checked all my pockets. I felt someone walk up to the bed and stand there for a while. She's probably hesitating whether or not to flip through my pillow. Have you found it? Shh. Don't wake her up. Lin Xiaoxiao walked in impatiently. The footsteps were much louder than those of the parents. He clearly didn't care whether he woke me up or not. I felt him stand by my bed, looking at me with a scrutinizing gaze. His gaze was as cold and sinister as a venomous snake. I could almost feel his breath on my face. Then her voice rang out, cold and steady. What is 161 pretending for? I know you're awake. Lin Xiaoxiao did not continue to pester him. Instead, he joined the search on his own. His actions were much rougher than his parents. The books on the bookshelf were thrown to the ground one by one. The drawer was pulled out completely. I hid my ID card in the lining of my pillowcase. I folded the notification letter into a very small piece. It was sewn into the lining of the suitcase. I thought I wouldn't be able to find it, but I underestimated Lin Xiaoxiao's madness. He yanked my pillow off. Then I started touching the pillow, touching inch by inch. That method was like searching for contraband. Leave no blind spot. When I touched that interlayer, his hand stopped. Then she let out a surprised scream. Found me. My heart tightened, but it still didn't move. Then he lunged at my suitcase. Pour everything out. Then they started tearing the lining. Fabric. The tearing sound was extremely piercing. His fingernails scratched across the lining. Finally, I touched that hard thing. I finally couldn't hold back anymore. He sat up abruptly. Reaching out, I pressed the switch on the bedside lamp. Lin Xiaoxiao stood beside the suitcase, holding an envelope in my hand. That was the envelope containing my acceptance letter. His expression was as if he had found a treasure. Greedy and excited, I stared at them. The voice was cold. Ask them what they were doing in the middle of the night. The 3 exchanged glances. I might as well stop pretending. The father slammed the ID card in his hand onto the table. Speak with confidence. We're not going to beat around the bush with you anymore. Zhao Xiao has already told us. As long as you are here, she can get high scores. This is fate between you siblings. Just accept it. Xiao Tian listens to his mother. Repeating a year of high school won't do you any harm. You're so smart, I'm sure I can pass the exam next year. Zhao Xiao will also have time to go to school then. 2 students from our family have gone on to study at prestigious universities. Isn't this a win-win situation? I said I wouldn't do it. I got up to retrieve my ID card, but her father pushed her away. I staggered 2 steps, hit the wall. The wound on my back was throbbing painfully. The father's face drew closer. Do you think you have a choice? Starting today, you can forget about going anywhere. No ID card, no notification letter. You can't get into Tsinghua or Peking University. He could only obediently stay at home and repeat his studies. After you finish your exams, next year everything is usual. You're still from Tsinghua or Peking University last year. Nobody delayed you in any way. I took a deep breath, suppressed the surging anger. Now is not the time to tear off all pretenses. I need more evidence, I asked them. So they've come tonight to confiscate my things. Snort mother sneered. They no longer bothered to hide it. What's it called? Confiscating things from the house. It was originally my parents' responsibility to take care of me. You are still a child. What's wrong with keeping such an important thing as your ID card safe with us? I looked at Lin Xiaoxiao. She was taking the acceptance letter out of the envelope. His face bore the smug satisfaction of triumph. He held up the notice, like holding a trophy. Then he did something I'll never forget. He was clutching the notice. A mad hatred burned in his eyes. Then, slowly and forcefully, it tore in half right in front of me. With a hiss, the sound was crisp and piercing. It sounded like something breaking. He was still not satisfied. Continue with those 2 halves until it turns into a pile of fragments, falling to the ground like snowflakes. His movements were slow. It is the starting point of my new life. He tore it to pieces like that. Lin Xiaoxiao looked at my expression, laughing like a madman. The notification letter is gone. Let's see how you report this. Lin Tian, you'll only ever be my stepping stone in this lifetime. I want you to rot in the mud with me. He was trembling all over. Disheveled hair. Why are you better than me? Why does everyone praise you? Why are you able to get into Tsinghua and Peking University? I can only be laughed at home. Those points should have been mine. Tears were were already streaming down my face, but not feeling wronged. Rather, it was resentment. It's jealousy. It's madness. But at this moment, his voice suddenly lowered. It's like talking to yourself. It's like it's talking to me. Do you know how scared I am? I've known since I was little that my grades were fake. It was stolen from you. He spoke with a ferocious expression. Before each exam, he was terrified. I'm afraid I might not take the exam one day. I'm also afraid I'll fail the exam someday. He was afraid everyone would find out he was actually a good-for-nothing. He said, with tears streaming down his face, that he hated me. Hate me smarter than him. Ironically, he actually thought I didn't need to do anything. To get such a high score, I hate even more that I am nothing without you. So you can't leave. You must stay. You must always be my stepping stone. That's how I can survive. I looked at him. Looking at this person I've called little sister for 18 years. This is the first time I felt sorry for her. But being sad is not a reason for me to forgive her. Being pathetic is not an excuse for him to ruin my life. Father and mother stood aside, looking at Lin Xiaoxiao's wind too. Surprisingly, not a single person stopped it. There was even a hint of approval on his face. It was as if he had done something incredibly satisfying. I watched this scene. Suddenly it felt absurd and tragic. This is my family. This is what is meant by blood being thicker than water. I looked down at the fragments on the ground. Shoulders began to tremble. They thought I was crying. I thought I had a breakdown. Mother scoffed. The tone carried an air of condescending charity. Okay, why are you crying? It's not a big deal. I can take the test again next year. Consider this a lesson learned and be more obedient next time. I didn't say anything. Just squat down. With trembling hands, I picked up the fragments. Lin Xiaoxiao looked at my disheveled appearance. The smile on his face became even more unrestrained. Cry, keep crying, you deserve this fate. I looked up at him. He was stunned, because there are no tears in my eyes. All that remained was a chilling hatred and a fleeting smile. He was startled by that laugh. I subconsciously took a step back. What are you laughing at? I slowly stood up. The voice was hoarse, but calm. I'm just thinking about you. The performance just now was wonderful. If I can't make it in the future, you have a chance to become an actor. I didn't continue. Instead, he pretended to be in despair and slumped down on the edge of the bed. Hollow eyes. Muttering to themselves, Lin Xiaoxiao looked at me. The alertness on his face gradually faded. Instead, there was the smugness of the victors. Now you know fear. Why didn't you do this earlier? The father snorted coldly. He put my ID card in his pocket. Okay, everyone go back to sleep. Starting today, that kid isn't going anywhere. The three of them acted as if they had completed some kind of mission. The mother also locked the door from the outside. The door lock clicked down very softly, but it struck me like a thunderbolt. I've been locked up. The room fell into darkness again. I sat on the edge of the bed, listening to their receding footsteps. The house fell silent again. Then I stood up, walked to the bookshelf. He pulled out the spare phone that had been constantly lit up from the pile of clutter. They didn't expect to search the entire room, but they forgot to check the video of that pile of junk they thought was trash. I took pictures of everything. Lin Xiaoxiao's madness when she tore up the notice. The parents stood by and watched coldly. Even their instigating and fueling the flames. The entire conspiracy they confessed to is in this video. I uploaded the video to the cloud and backed it up several times. Ensure that nothing goes wrong. Then I edited a shorter version. Posted online with caption, "This is the family I want to escape from." After sending it, I dialed the police. I want to call the police. I was illegally detained by my family. The operator asked me for my address and basic information. I answered them one by one. He said he would send someone over. Let me wait until I finish reporting to the police. I put my phone on silent, hid it back in the pile of miscellaneous items. Then I lay back down on the bed. My heart is beating very fast, but outwardly, one must remain calm. I don't know how long it will take for the police to arrive. I don't know what will happen before that, but I know that as long as I get through tonight, everything will be different. Time passed second by second. The sky outside the window began to lighten. My eyes were fixed on the ceiling. Ears caught every subtle sound in the house. I heard footsteps. It's Lin Xiaoxiao's. His steps were very light, as if afraid of waking people, but it could still be clearly heard in the quiet night. She stopped outside my door. I held my breath, motionless. The door lock clicked. He came in again. I closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. The sound of my heartbeat was like a drum beat in my ear. He walked over to my bedside and stood there for a while. I could feel his gaze on me. Then he started wandering around the room. The footsteps were sometimes near and sometimes far, like a wild beast patrolling its territory. I don't know what he's looking for, but I have a bad feeling. The footsteps stopped in front of the bookshelf. My heart suddenly clenched. The sound of rummaging began. He was rummaging through the pile of junk. My fingers quietly clenched. Quilt corner. I suddenly opened my eyes and sat up. I happened to see him holding that spare phone. The red dot indicating recording is still lit on the screen. His expression changed from confusion to shock. Then it turned into a ferocious Lin Tian. "You're downstairs." She screamed and lunged at her. Like a mad beast, I didn't have time to dodge his fingernails. It slid right across my face. Burning pain, I grabbed his wrist. The two of them started fighting. Although she is a girl, but at this moment he seemed to have gone mad. His strength is astonishing. We knocked over the headboard. Counterlights fall on the ground. It shattered on the ground. Too much noise. The parents were quickly awakened. The father rushed in and saw this scene. Without saying a word, he pushed me away. "Dare to hit your sister." I covered my head and gasped for breath as I spoke. I didn't hit him. He started it. Lin Xiaoxiao had already gotten up from the ground. He was still clutching the phone tightly in his hand. He ran behind his father. Dad secretly recorded the video. He recorded us all. The father's expression changed instantly. He snatched the phone. I looked down at the screen. His face grew increasingly pale. The veins on his forehead were bulging. Lin Tian, you're really great. He slammed his phone to the ground. My phone screen is cracked. He stomped on it a few more times, until that phone was completely reduced to a pile of scrap metal. I looked at the phone that had been crushed, but I wasn't flustered at all, because the video had already been uploaded to the cloud. This phone is just a shell, but I didn't show it. Instead, he wore a look of despair. It was as if even the last straw had been pulled away. Mother also rushed over. After understanding the situation, his face turned ashen. I tell you, Lin Tian's matter is not over today. You better stay put. Don't even think about going anywhere. Dare to post it online, I'll make you bear the consequences. He went out grumbling. Before leaving, I reminded my mother to take good care of me. Zhaoshen, you've disappointed Mom so much. We did all this for the sake of this family. Why can't you understand? Okay, you should reflect on this carefully. He left too. The door was locked from the outside again. This time, he also moved something to prop up the doorway. I heard the sound of a chair being moved. I was the only one left in the room. A complete mess. I leaned against the corner of the wall, touching my swollen face. They thought they didn't know the police were already on their way. I didn't even know the video had been uploaded online. They thought destroying a cell phone would solve everything. Little did they know that the real storm had only just begun. Time continues to pass. The sky grew brighter. Around 6 o'clock, I heard my father's phone ring. Then came his panicked voice. What video and who posted it? Then came the mother's piercing scream and Lin Xiaoxiao's cries. The whole house was in a mess. I know the video went viral. I don't know how much time has passed, maybe half an hour. I heard a knock on the door. The knocking was loud, very urgent. It was also accompanied by shouts. Who called the person? What should we do about Lao Lin? Don't panic, hide that kid. Just say he's not home. I listened in my room. Where does the grass hide? The person inside heard this and quickly opened the door. Otherwise, we will take coercive measures. Father finally couldn't take it anymore. I heard the door open. Then came a burst of noisy conversation. I can't hear the specific content, but I could sense that my father was making excuses, trying to make the past completely. A few minutes later, the obstruction outside my room door has been removed. The door was opened. 2 uniformed police officers stood at the door. His brows furrowed the moment he saw me. One of the younger policemen walked over. Are you Lin Tian, the customs broker? I nodded. He looked at the bruises on my face and the swollen corner of my mouth. Then I looked at the mess in the room. His expression turned serious. You are injured. Who did it? My father, comrade. This is a family matter. What's wrong with me disciplining my son? The older policeman glanced back at him. Household chores, illegal detention, restriction of personal freedom. This is also a household matter. We received a report from the authorities. It is said that someone is locked in their home by their family and cannot leave. I also received a video. Take a look for yourself. This can be called housework. The scene of my parents and Lin Xiaoxiao searching through my things. Lin Xiaoxiao's madness when she tore up the notice. The father's face turned deathly pale instantly. The mother's legs went weak. I almost collapsed on the ground. Lin Xiaoxiao hid in the corner. Messy hair, hollow eyes, like a squashed worm. We need you to come with us to give a statement today. I nodded. Then he stood up, walking out, stepping on the shards scattered on the ground. When passing by my father, he suddenly reached out to stop me. He was pushed aside by the police. You are now suspected of unlawful detention and intentional assault. Be honest. His face looked like he'd swallowed a fly. I was angry, scared, and helpless. I didn't look at him. He walked straight out of that door. The sound of my mother's wailing came from behind me. Xiaojun, you can't treat us like this. We are your parents. You do this. How can we be decent human beings in the future? I stopped in my tracks. You haven't treated me like a human being for a long time. So now it's your turn to taste this flavor. You'll regret it. I won't let you get away with this. Wait a minute. I looked at his ferocious face. He said calmly, Lin Xiaoxiao, remember starting today. We have severed all ties. Then I turned around and got into the police car. He never looked back. After giving a statement at the police station, it was already noon. Based on video evidence and your injuries, your father is suspected of intentional assault and unlawful detention. They will be dealt with according to the law. As for Lin Xiaoxiao damaging other people's property, although the notification letter was issued by the school, but it belongs to my personal items, he will also bear corresponding legal responsibility. What will happen to my acceptance letter? Yes, it can be replaced. The police officer said they would have to contact the school to ask. They will help me issue the relevant certificates. I nodded. When leaving the police station, the sunlight was very bright. I stood on the steps, squinting, looking at the sky. It felt like I had a very long nightmare. I'm finally awake now.